All right, baby. Positivity is everything. As we say, maintain your disposition at an optimistic vibrational state of gratitude. In other words, hey, just be grateful. All right. All right. It is the spotlight right here, the Sunday night spotlight on WSME SM Enlightenment Radio. Right about now, we are also broadcasting live on a Wednesday, on a hump day. But hey, this is the Sunday night spotlight. And as you know, the Spotlight is a program where we always want to bring you something that we know that you should know about, either some things, somebody, some people. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on the Spotlight, we open the mic and open the heart, all right? Because every now and then, a story rolls that hits like a hymn. And, this is a unbelievable story of devotion. And also, hey, we have to really talk about, we're going to really cover a lot of different things that are happening out here. I got joining me virtually is JOANA Don, all right, a woman who, displays incredible loyalty, all right, and her husband, Amos Don, all right, who is actually incarcerated right now, but he's a poet, he's an author, an abolitionist, and a man that has actually transformed a wrongful conviction into righteous creation. All right, and hey, his words from "My Blue Days Sound Like Blue Jays." This brother writes a lot of great stuff. Even children's tales that color hope, and you know what I'm saying. I'm just honored to have such strong people here with me. You know what I'm saying, and it really is an honor. Here's a picture of them, and I'm not going to keep them in the background any longer, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further ado, let me bring on in Amos and JOANA Don in the house. What's going on, folks?
Hey, Doc P.
How you doing, my brother, Doc P?
Peace. Amos is on the phone. All right. He is in a correctional facility. Amos, where are you at right now?
Right now, I'm housed at MCI Norfolk, which is in Norfolk, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how long have you been there, sir?
Right now, I've been incarcerated for 16 years, but I've been here almost 10 years, since 2017, about 8 years.
Wow. And that's, I'm sure that's, quite something there to have to get used to. And I know that, that you have, you and your wife have quite a story. I know that the two of you go way back to childhood, right?
Yes. Correct. The little Cinderella stories, yes.
Well, we're going to get into all that it is that you do. I know that you have a couple of businesses. I mean, you're an author. You do a lot of awesome stuff, and we're going to get into all of that stuff. But I'd like to understand the dynamic, of your relationship, of your marriage here. I mean, it really is, a story, a real story. So take me back to the early days. Like, what do you remember most vividly about your connection when you were kids? I mean, because I know you met through the Haitian church, right?
Yeah, Haitian church. We
Correct.
both grew up in that church.
Wow. And I know life separated you. What eventually brought your paths back together in such a powerful way?
Well, to start it off, Because my wife would never know that the phone call would come, right? So obviously, being in the plantation, which is what we consider it, you would have to wonder our ancestors in a plantation back in the days, wondering about someone that they were snatched away from, whether it was love or a family member, and thinking about like how do I get a message to that person in the other plantation where they have them housed. So here I am working at a warehouse that a warehouse in here in the prison that they call Mass Core, and I'm in the warehouse, working. I'm with this other brother who is he's a Christian, and he's talking about his marriage and his relationship. And then as he's talking, and then I'm hearing how his marriage is developing under the circumstance and how they're going through struggles. And then I end up, sitting there stuck and saying, man, I can't even think about someone who's actually thinking about me right now, other than my mother. Like, who right now, as a woman, can I actually say is thinking about me in this very second? This is what I tell this individual that I'm talking to. And then as I'm thinking, because I'm really searching in my mind, a runaway slave or even one in the plantation is thinking about a loved one. Really, I'm thinking, like, who can really be thinking about me right now? And then, boom, Joanna comes out of nowhere. And there's no doubt in my heart at that moment. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know exactly who you're saying will be thinking about me at this very second. I have somebody. I do have somebody. And that same day, I went back to the union after the hard days of labor in the plantation, and I contacted her. I via a letter. I sent a letter and a message asking, can I call? And then the message came back, said yes, I can call. Through her sister, obviously, younger sister, that I was able to get a message through to ask, can I get her number and call? And it was a yes, a thumbs up. And then from there, here we are.
Wow. So how long had it been, that before you actually started to have contact with each other? Be like, but while you were inside, like how much time had passed before you reconnected?
Why you want to answer that? What? Or, don't you definitely own half of the story.
Okay. So
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, Joanna.
So honestly, the connection never really stopped because, knowing each other since kids, and then there was a point in time where, I would be checking for him or he would be checking for me. And so it would be on and off. And then it was probably maybe before that specific time, it had to be about 10 years maybe before we spoke to each other again, before that moment.
So
no.
Exactly. So you have a moment where we're raised in church together, and then at 14, I'm separated because I fall under the culture of delinquency and misguided principles, and then I fall into out of the church world and into the street life, and obviously she's still in the church world, and so that gap until I am 20, about 18, I bump into her again at a Home Depot. We happen to be both working again. And in that moment, the energy's there. And then again, you see there's another pocket moment where we're bumping in the middle of the streets where she's driving now because, she's of age and she's out in the world. And then we're able to see each other on Warren Street and on Blue Hill. And then we stop, have little small communications in those moments, and then you have another pocket of time that spaces, and then we fast forward and I end up incarcerated, for this, and she's visiting me in Nashua Street Jail, and then from there, the communication loses again, and then we. So there's pocket moments of it all, and that's why when she said that we never really lose communication, is true. But it seems like we're there and we never leave. And it's one of those where we're just tap kissing. Nah, and, can you catch me? Nah, can you catch me? Nah.
Wow. Okay, so all right, so you were out, so you were actually able to really get together, and then then there was another another thing that happened where you had to go back in. And since
Correct.
then that's where you've been. So how do you keep your love rooted and thriving through these challenges of incarceration? Like, how do you do it?
Well, we both can answer that, so I'll definitely share my part, and obviously
you have 1 minute left.
She can share hers, or she can share it now since we got 1 minute, and then I'll enter into the conversation when I call back.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah, Joanna, let us know. Tell me about it.
So on my part, what keeps the love going is there has to be a lot of communication between us, like, and honesty and vulnerability.
Yeah.
That has to be. There's the fear of being vulnerable, because not knowing how it's going to be reciprocated, the emotions that come with being with somebody that's incarcerated and not having that person by your side. But then, because he is the person that I see as my other half, I trust him with that vulnerability, and even with the trust, there's fear, but, I do trust him. And so, for me to even be at that point, to be vulnerable with him, like, I'm a woman of faith, and for me, I feel like I recently, like, I grew up in the church, but I, with him and everything, but I recently found my relationship with God again, but it's on a whole deeper level. And the only reason I told him this recently, that the only reason why I found my relationship with God again is because of him. It was on his behalf. And I felt like, this is somebody that I always had a love for. And I've always, had him in my heart for a very long time. And I never really understood why. But I come to realize that that love was for where we are now, because it took this type of love to be with, someone in that, type of situation, to try to be, on the long haul. And so my faith keeps me, and God keeps me grounded. There's times where I have concerns. I feel like, hold on a second, just trying to connect the call.
Mm-hmm.
There's times where I have concerns, and if it's between us, like, there are certain things that, I just go to God for, on my knees, prayed out, just, crying and everything. And the answers come through my husband, and he doesn't even know that, I went before God about certain things. But it really is my faith in God that keeps me grounded, especially with him. And it's never perfect, because I don't believe that any relationship is perfect. But I think the best relationships have their trials and tribulations. That's why the greats are the greats, because of everything that they went to get up there. It takes work to get up to where you're trying to be in a relationship and success, whatever it is. Like, everything takes work. So, having God with me in every step helps me to stay grounded, with my husband, and to just continue to fight.
Wow. So, I mean, this is, I mean, I know Amos is writing books, And I mean, the real book is your story. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is that is a bestseller right there. I mean, the way that you've kept it together, and just the fact that you've been able to turn this adversity into art, activism, community service,
Mhm.
all of all of this type of stuff. And I mean, so I mean, as for Amos, is he back with us yet?
Not yet. He's calling. He's gonna
Okay,
call back in just a little bit. Oh, there he is right now. Let's see. Let me see.
yeah. I mean, because it really is a remarkable story. I mean, and the fact that you've been able to turn this into a couple of different types of businesses and expressions, um that actually not only helps you, but it helps it helps countless communities and people that a lot of people that are facing the same types of challenges.
Hmm.
you know um I mean, it really is remarkable. I mean, you've become such a fierce advocate for your husband. I mean, and as you've said, I mean, it's just been your faith that has led you all the way.
Because the trials still come. They
Yeah,
still come. They still right around the corner, waiting for the next morning. You get through one door just to get past another door, But it really does take one to decide, you know, that I had made up my mind, and then two to just continue in that path,
right.
regardless of what comes.
Yeah. So tell me about the businesses that you have. I know that you have um, the ink from honey. Um, basically, what is that? What does that business entail that you do?
So the business is Donna Creation LLC.
Okay.
With Donna Creation LLC, that's the business side. The other part, or what stemmed from or grew out of Donna Creation LLC, is the grassroots movement called Ink from Honey. So,
Okay.
with Donna Creation LLC, we publish and vendor our own books. So currently, Amos has 6 books right now, that you've mentioned, that
Yeah.
we've published. We self-publish on Amazon, and we vendor the books as well. We've brought in them. Our first book ever that we published on Amazon and Barnes and Noble was My Blue Days Sound Like Blue Jays.
Yeah. 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 I
And
saw that. Yep.
which
My bl-
that book, it was definitely it was not easy to publish that book. It wasn't even easy to start it, because we're publishing and we have no idea what we're doing. He has this grand idea, and he has all this, poetry and everything bursting out of him, and he's got all these different pieces of paper all over his whole entire room, notebooks on notebooks on notebooks, and I'm like, just put it in a book. Like, let's continue the work, because there were people in the past that he tried to connect with to help him to publish, but it just didn't happen. So then I said, you know what, like, let's do it. Let's try and figure it out. I have to give the credit to his older sister, Naomi, who he expressed to her what we're about to endeavor on, and then she kind of guided me, because she had just recently at that time published her book. So she literally sat down with me on, I went to her house, we sat down, she gave me the A to B's, all the way down to Z, on how to self-publish on Amazon, which we ended up doing. And then we were able to go ahead and publish it, I went ahead and with the prison, it wasn't, because when I say that we go through one door just to enter, try to get through another door, because we
Yeah.
published it, but then with the prisons, they don't make it easy for our incarcerated loved ones to get the books that they so proudly wrote. So, when we published it, because for them, they can't accept any packages that are considered third party fulfillment, because they look at that as contraband. A fulfillment is fulfilling it. They don't know what may be entering into the package or whatnot. So then, I had to go
Right, but
ahead.
I mean, it's books, though. It's
Exactly. But, for them, as long as there's a sticker on there that says third party fulfillment, they're not even going to touch it. They're just going to reject it. So then I, figured out what exactly was the reason. And they don't make it easy to even explain to us why they're not accepting it. So finally, I got through to somebody. And then they said, well, you know what it is? It's just a sticker. So then I called Amazon. And after a couple different calls with people at Amazon, then they told me. And then I said, okay, well, just don't put it on there. And this is his first book. He's incarcerated. For the love of God, send the man his book. So
yeah.
so they did. And they did it with just the Amazon package, because that's the only way they'll accept it. And then he was able to get his book. I sent him a couple copies so that he could share with a few folks inside, and then he was able to receive his first book.
That is awesome.
Better
And
70%.
I got him on the line now.
Amos, you there?
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know. You can to say if I'm to say sorry, but that's one of those moments right there. If I may to answer, definitely trying to call about 7 to 11 times. I want you to consider those being like lashes. And you asked me, you say like, what holds a love like that?
Yeah.
Into these things, like how do I?
Amos, I want to know
Say
how
that
did
again.
Amos?
Are you still there?
And then
hold on, you went out a little bit. You went out after you explained lashes.
Receiving these lashes, and you have to think about those slaves who used to get those lashes in front of their women when they used to get demasculated in front of their women, but you could still see in their eye that they had this fire, that they used to stop themselves from screaming, yelling, even sometimes crying, until they got in front of their woman. And when she would put the rag on their back and the sponge, that's when they would cry. The truth would come out as far as integrity. And it was those moments that I can relate to. For instance, trying to call and I'm not able to get in, and then you wonder why the system is doing that for something positive, and then they're trying to destroy it. So I consider those internal lashes, because they're the matter of the heart. It feels like I'm getting whooped, you know what I'm saying, in the heart. But then I have a wife to know that she still sees me as that man, that warrior, like don't give up. And that's the type of love that I found in her, being able to still continue stand tall with my back looking a mess.
The love that you're displaying, that the two of you have, I mean, is greater and stronger than a lot of people that that are both, out here together, not having to deal with the challenge of incarceration. I mean, this is a true test to to the real character of of both involved. I mean, especially JOANA. I mean, but for Amos, I mean, how did for all of the challenges and the pain and the adversity that you've been experiencing throughout your life, I mean, how are you able to turn this into art? Like, what role did the poetry play in reclaiming your identity, or to to even find yourself?
Well, freedom. Being ignorant, you really don't know what freedom really is until, and also education too, until you're put in the world of racism that's either structured or deliberate. Until you're really faced with it, you're really just living in a world in a bliss of ignorance. So that I was able to find my voice after my wrongful conviction. So saying that, I want you to just picture walking into a room. It's just not as easy as just saying I'm a poet, and it's you actually have to see picture me walking into a courtroom for sentencing, and then when I'm getting sentenced, you have a family out there that is just all white, and you're wondering where your family's at. It come to find out, the court officer didn't remind them equally as they did with the white family. So now here you're in front of a courtroom and you're facing a judge who has a verdict in, and then now when you have this verdict, you're hearing that you're guilty, and then you're hearing these hit sounds behind your back like yes, yes, and you still chilling there because you don't have the warmth of a family or even supporters. Now, rightfully so, the family who needs justice are celebrating rightfully, because to them in their mind, this is the person that murdered my family. So right, so there is no beef with how they're feeling, but these emotions still also land on another human being. So now imagine leaving and then you feeling like you've been abandoned because now you're embarrassed to call your family to see why nobody showed up, because you're feeling like they might be embarrassed of you now. So you don't want to really find out the truth because you're kind of nervous. So now you go back to court the next day, and then when you enter to the courtroom, you see all your family there. And because they felt the same thing too, they called other family members and friends and loved ones to attend because they felt like they were robbed, and they organized themselves to appear just to show that they support me, because they already can understand, why is he not calling? They're asking themselves the same questions I'm challenging myself with. They're challenging themselves with their own set of questions. And they did something about it. I walk out in the courtroom, I see them, I'm shocked, I'm stunned. I thought I was going to be in front of another all-white family again, and it was going to be just me by myself. So at that moment, can you imagine you saying like the humanity I felt at that moment, and the support. Though it was a situation that was tough, so I waved at them. I smiled. I couldn't believe it. I just smiled and waved at them, and because I was surprised that they were there in shock. And now, if I fast forward, then you have I received a newspaper, and now when I'm reading this newspaper for sentencing date, you have this news reporter, journalist, who states that Amos appeared in sentencing upbeat and waving, and left it like that, and left it to individuals' imagination to think whatever they want to think. And however, I come from a situation of internalizing things, so to me, the picture that popped up in my head is a monster. Who would do something like that? So I even questioned myself, like, I wouldn't do nothing like that. I didn't do that. And it's not what it's not what she said I did. It's what she didn't say I did. Like, she didn't add that waving and smiling to my family. She purposely took them out of the picture and made me appear however anybody's imagination wants. So now, that is the art of writing. And if it comes to find out, this person is a MSN alumni who is graduated with a degree for writing, literature, and publishing, and won all kinds of awards, and is also especially known for examining racism in the judicial system. I mean, investigating police and prosecutors, their job to see how individuals like myself end up locked up in our society. And here you have this very person went against their own creed and their integrity, and went and chose to be biased in that situation. So now, when I get to the federal prison, the only thing I'm thinking about is, why would someone do that? You know, I'm asking myself that question, venting, and then, you know, I have a cellmate who was a Muslim, and then all he did was just hear me venting, and I'm pacing back and forth, and then I jump on top of my bunk because I eventually tired myself off, and then he states to me, when I wake up later, he passes me a paper and says, "I'm here." And I said, "What is that?" And then I read it, and I can't believe everything that I vented about how this person used to attack my smile, how this person dehumanized me, how this person made me look like an animal, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said it was a poem. So here you are. I just got sentenced, and then I'm in my mid-20s, and someone is now in my life teaching me what a poem is. Can you imagine? I mean, the word poem, the fact that I didn't even know that word existed. You know, in my mid-20s, I'm learning someone just put my feelings and my emotions on a piece of paper, and they called it poems. And that's when I found my voice. From there, I just continued, using the guy's foundation and his way of writing until I end up stepping out of his form of writing into mine. From the merge of his, I found my own voice with a little bit of his also, and I end up finding my activism voice in it.
Wow. Wow, that is. So you had never written a poem before you were there incarcerated.
Never wrote a poem and never heard a poem. Never. That wasn't in the conversation of where the circle, that the culture that I was living. Poem, nah.
Yeah, so you didn't even know you had it in you. You didn't even know you had. So it took you to be incarcerated to get in touch with a vital part of who you are.
Correct.
Wow. So, and then after finding that, then we have Ink from Honey, and you're giving incarcerated poets a platform through what it is that you're doing.
Correct. Today, exactly. Today, that's how you have that, because of going through what I went through and trying to fight wrongful media convictions and also wrongful conviction in itself and narratives. It became now a platform where I extend to individuals under the same circumstances in the fight and who want their voices to be out there. And today, this is where you have, our First Lady, part of Ink from Honey, Nelly, and other individuals in here, just ICLR, and so many others who participate on the male side.
Wow.
Yeah, Luke Nelly actually just did her first poem, because she joined us recently, but she did her first poem at the Harriet Tubman Project organization, and they did their it was a event that was on October 30th that they did. I don't know if you've heard of Allah Fuquan, who was released recently, And so, you know, that was his first event there live, because he was also there along with my husband at MCI Norfolk, and he was in for 28 years. So it was definitely a blessing for them to give that highlight for Ink from Honey. I remember talking with Jackie, who's also the co-founder of the Harriet Tubman Project, and she said, I want to give Ink from Honey a highlight, you know, for that, so that we can use their platform for these poets to stand and speak their voice. So we definitely appreciate them for, you know, everything that they do. And even with her, you know, helping me figure things out, you know, as far as, you know, how to put up posts and how to put things together and just how to be organized, how to really be there for my husband and represent him the best way that I can in my own way. So, you know, I definitely had to give that shout out to her because I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely shout out to her. I mean, you know, I just want everyone to know that, I mean, you know, this is the Sunday night spotlight. You know, usually this is just a 25-minute show. We have gone over, but what I'm definitely going to do, we're gonna definitely reconvene this, and we're gonna make this a series. I'm thinking at least a 3-part series. You know, next month, you know, we'll get back on here, and we'll even dig deeper into all that it is that you're doing, and what your cause is, because it's something that, you know, that I definitely believe in, you know, and you know, you got the support of this platform right here. You know, I'm gonna let you know that off the rip, you know,
Thank
so
you.
you know, yeah, so you're always gonna have that. Um, how can people support your cause?
One of the main things people can do is we work alongside HTP, which is Harriet Tubman Project, and they definitely specialize and are experts on the criminal justice system, and that organization is pretty much contacting them and getting and becoming part of that organization will actually support myself and Ink from Honey, and also individuals like Luke Nelly and the Michael Barrows, who have wrongful convictions, where being in collaboration and working together as a unified front is a best way one can support us, by actually getting in contact with HTP and following Ink from Honey page on the media aspect. When we put something out and individuals don't mind collaborating and also sharing, trying to get the voices a little further than we can with their support. And on the legal aspect, contact HTP, Harriet Tubman Project, on behalf of individuals from Ink from Honey, asking like how can they help, and they're the ones who are our legal experts out there that can actually, if there's any individual listening, tuning in, that wants to help on the legal aspect, as far as if you're asking me how, and that right there would be the most effective way.
Okay.
So that's theharriettubmanproject.org. And then the Instagram page is the same, the Harriet Tubman Project. Ink from Honey grassroots movement is Ink from Honey on Instagram. I'll try to make it as simple as possible. And then Amos's page is My Blue Jays Sound Like Blue Jays, to keep up with what he's doing and so forth.
Okay, yeah, and you know, we'll also put those links in on the SM Enlightenment Facebook page on the platform as well. All right, so JOANA and Amos, Dawn of Creation, Money. I mean, I think that we all have a lot to learn from the two of you, you know, and I absolutely commend you on all that you're doing. And like I said, I mean, hey, I'm all in. Whatever it is that I can do, that's why I have you on this platform here. To get the word out because the awareness needs to be there.
Right.
And
Correct.
and Amos, we don't have the time on this broadcast, but when we reconvene next month,
1 minute left.
I want to start it off with one of your poems, with one of your pieces. All right? Do we got a deal, brother?
Okay. Perfect. Absolutely.
This is the spotlight right here with JOANA and Amos Don. All right, Don of Creation, Ink from Honey. Thank you so much for blessing us today with your story and your information. And hey, we are just gonna keep this going. We're gonna keep this going, and we're gonna keep that information out there for the folks. Okay.
We're ready for it.
All right. So you have a blessed evening.
Peace, Doc. Peace.
Yes, indeed. Hey, before you go, Amos, anybody want to shout out real quick?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
I'll do it for him.
Yeah.
So we want to shout out again the Harriet Tubman Project, Jacqueline Fonseca, Ala Fuquan McGee, Ricky Fuquan McGee. And we want to shout out all of our loved ones. Today's his sister's birthday, Rachel Dawn. So we definitely want to shout out for her.
All right.
To Rachel, his family, Esdras, Volner, Naomi, Dina, his cousins, because he has people that's been holding him down, that definitely like his friend Mitch, Larry. There's so many people, Bubblegum, D, Nisi. My husband stays connected with a lot of people from all different walks of life. He doesn't judge and he doesn't discriminate. He has a love for everyone. And I ask him so many times, like, how do you fit all those people in your heart? Like, how's your heart that big? But it is. So, shout out to everybody, and definitely shout out to Gwen, who's how I feel like Gwen is also who wanted to connect us to you for a while now. But I'm happy that we got connected today.
Well, Michelle, yes. Yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. All right. This has been yes, sir. Yeah. So we're closing out, but I was thanking you for being with us. I had JOANA, she gave us all of the shout outs. And
yes.
And then 4 weeks.
Well, if there was one shout out that I can give right now, it would definitely be. I definitely want to shout out the Haitian soccer team for making it to the World Cup. And
all right.
Hopefully, you're saying some peace can happen with the W that's happening. I mean, with the W, if they make it all the way, that can bring some peace to the black nation. So
nice, and you have a lot of comments in here. You have Sherry Lee checking in, Jeralis Miranda checking in, saying a lot of stuff. Earl Stephen, checking in, saying
that's
free
the
Don.
president of the African American Coalition Committee at MCI Norfolk.
Nice.
Wow. Please.
And I have a message here from the HTP. Says our goal is to get these incredible minds out of prison. They deserve their freedom, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely agree with that. So I want to thank you both for joining me today on tonight's Spotlight. This has been streaming live on this Wednesday, December 10th, is it? But we're going to be rebroadcasting this on SM Enlightenment Radio, smenlightenmentmedia.com, and stay in touch with the SM Enlightenment Radio Facebook page, because that's also a place where you will also see clips of this conversation and from the conversations that we're going to have in the future, because we're definitely going to be doing a series with Amos and Joanna. All right. So once again, thank you so much, folks. All right. Peace and blessings. And I'm just wishing you all the best, and hey, the two of you give a lot of us hope. And the least that we can do is return the favor, give you some hope back. So
Peace,
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Peace. All right. All right, folks. This has been the Spotlight right here on WSME SM Enlightenment Radio, where, as we say, positivity is everything. Blessings. Awesome show.
That was great.